Okay.
Welcome, everyone, to the 2025 Optimist U18 Provincial Championship. We have, in our final match, we have Team Hlushak versus Team Hennig. I'm Jason Ginter, joined by Lucas Sawiak, and here we are commentating for you live this afternoon. I'm going to go through the rosters for each of the teams, and then I'm going to pass it off to Lucas to give you some keys to the matchups, as Lucas is no stranger to this game. So we have from the Crestwood Curling Center and Sherwood Park Curling Clubs, we have Team Hlushak, Skip Peter Hlushak, third Jackson Hebert, second Varric Dupker, lead Parker Harris, alternate Nate Burton, and coach Reg Reinhardt. And then from the Saville Sports Center in Edmonton, Alberta, we have Skip Austin Hennig, third Preston Russell, second Matthew Reiniger, lead Hugo Chow, and coach Chris Power. So Lucas, what do you think we're looking to see? What are the keys to the victory here for both of these teams?
Well, obviously, Team Hlushak coming in maybe a little bit more confident than Team Hennig, as they've been in this situation before. They were the 2024 Optimist U18 Provincial champions, and their entire roster went to nationals, representing Alberta 1 and Alberta 2. Team Hennig trying to play the underdog here, trying to catch Team Hlushak maybe on a little bit of an off game, and trying to play their hearts out and see if they could earn that Purple Heart and become Alberta number 1.
Yes, obviously it's a super important game for both of these teams. They will be both going to the Nationals in Saskatoon in February. However, this is a chance to cement your place in history as a U18 provincial champion, to earn that Alberta 2 or Alberta number 1, wear the blue jackets at the Nationals, earn your crest, and have that banner at the end of the year. So a lot on the line here. And I think just this morning, being able to play that semifinal matchup, Team Hennig came out firing. They had a fairly defensive strategy, but they executed super well, especially Skip Austin Hennig had a couple of game-saving shots to propel them from the semis into the final. So a bit of an advantage being able to curl already today for Team Hennig, but like you said, they will be the underdogs going into this match, as Team Hlushak has dominated U18 play this season. So as we saw, the first rock from Hugo Chow is drawn just off the center line, followed by a come around and a freeze by Hugo as well. We're right into the thick of it here in end number 1. So these two teams would have played each other twice before, once in round robin play and once in the 1 versus 2 page playoff game. Team Hlushak undefeated through the round robin and was successful in the win in the 1 versus 2 page playoff. they've beaten Hennig twice now. You know, as they said in Miracle on Ice, you know, sometimes you might have a chance to beat them 1 out of 10. Here it is, Team Hennig hoping this is the one.
Matthew Reiniger with his first stone of the first end. I've actually played Matthew before at the 2024 high school provincial championships. We played each other in a round robin and in the semifinals. He's a very great player. He was skipping that team, so was I, but we were able to come out with the win. But he's definitely no stranger to strategy and can execute amazingly. And I think we'll see some amazing execution from him today.
There we go. We might have our feature matchup at the second position between Matthew and Varick, second for Team Hlushak. Varick is throwing the intern draw. Looks like it's just coming a bit deep. Chaps off the yellow and rolls to the middle of the 12-foot. First break for Team Hennig. So we talked about this a bit this morning with featuring Team Hennig versus Team Duncan. Team Hennig, they've been curling together all year, at least the three of them, on a U20 team with Kieran Shannon, with Team Shannon. And the three of them, you know, they've been lead, second, and third throughout most of the year. They've been able to move up one position, or I guess change one position to second, third, and skip. And looks like they've really grown into these roles, obviously getting to the U18 provincial final. And then we have Team Hlushak, who have been playing mainly in U20 events throughout the season, scattering in a few men's events and one U18 event. It's nice. Both of these teams have not only been playing in the U18 category, but playing up a little bit. And maybe that might be the reason why they're here in the finals today. Great come around again by Matthew Reiniger. It's putting the pressure on Team Hlushak early.
Oh, definitely. Now, Barrick Depker has to make this double peel, or else Team Hennig can potentially sink another one under, or just continue guarding for the rest of the end. Just coming up a little bit wide, they're missing the crucial guard that was guarding both of them, which gives Team Hennig an opportunity to Christmas tree one around top 12, or even sink a high guard, or even just freeze on the one that Matthew just threw.
Now, listening to a post-game interview featuring Peter Hlushak and Jackson Hebert after the round robin was over, we had our social media man, Raymond Vanstone, conduct some interviews, and it was very much to the tune of jobs not finished for Team Hlushak. They were happy with their 7-0 record. That was their main objective through the round robin. And into that 1-2 game. Now that they won the 1-2 game, they know they're going to nationals, but that's not what they were there for. They're here to win this provincial championship, and so there is a lot on the line for them. So there we have a nice replacement of the guard there from Preston Russell with his first rock in today's final. You see Jackson Hebert. He has to throw the double peel. He gets both rocks away, leaves his shooter in play as a guard. Let's see if Team Hennig can just simply replace that second guard.
Preston Russell with his second shot of the first end, and This is actually Preston Russell's first U18 provincial championship, as he is usually playing second for Team Shannon, their U20 team, but has been playing third this entire week and has been doing a pretty good job. Definitely good enough to at least become Alberta 2 representation. And as this one comes a little bit light, but works very nicely as it successfully guards the yellows in the house and potentially gives Jackson Hebert a tricky-ish double peel. But Jackson has been known to make these with his usual sub 6 second monster cannon shots. We'll see how this one goes.
All right, so you threw it hard enough to make the bank shot, but unfortunately that doesn't count in curling. Just jams that rock right on the other one, leaves that yellow center guard in play. Still advantage Team Hennig here in end number 1. It looks like the outturn is still the outturn draw is still there for Peter Hlushak. The intern side completely cut off. What do you think Austin is thinking about here with his first stone in end number 1?
Well, potentially what Austin's thinking is not to throw up a high guard, but to sink another one in top 4, put a little bit more pressure on Peter, forcing Peter to try potentially a run back triple to get him out of a little bit of a pickle right now. And if Peter's unsuccessful with that, Austin might just be able to put up another guard or even put another one in the house to put an immense amount of pressure on Peter, and potentially might have to play a shot which will just give up a steal of 1 or a steal of 2.
Yes, I guess the strategy this morning, Team Hennig, was very defensive with an obvious change in tactics now for the first end. Going at it early. Maybe they tried the defensive strategy in game 1 and game 2 and it didn't work out too well. Seems like Team Hlushak has been, they were okay starting early, but they saw a point in the end where they needed to bail. And they've tried to bail for the rest of the end here, just haven't done so successfully. This one comes into the house. They're hoping that it stops just before. Oh, there we go. We're getting a little extra curl. It just bites the top of the 8-foot, half buried behind that center guard. Just a fantastic result.
Team Hennig might also be going into this game maybe a little bit more aggressive than last time, as they previously played Team Hlushak in the round robin, and they had them hooped for the first 3 ends, potentially with a more aggressive strategy, and they might be trying to replicate those initial 3 ends for this entire game. So we'll see how this game pans out with potentially this new strategy.
I like that. There's a bit of familiarity now between these two teams, having played each other twice already this week. They know one another. They know their strengths. They know their weaknesses. This one, just ticks the center guard. Leaves Team Hennig lying 2 in the house, buried behind a top 8 stone, and an opportunity to just plug that up. We see the first coach interaction now. As teams in the U18 division, they are given 1 interaction per end at the U18 level. In this interaction, essentially, they're able to speak with their coach that's seated just on the backboards there. The coach can have any input up to 60 seconds per interaction. However, their time clock that still runs. So, they can't just, use the interaction every end and think that they'll stop the clock. Teams are given 34 minutes of thinking time instead of the initial 30 minutes of thinking time. So they're able to use that 4 minutes essentially for their interactions. So here we are. We have Austin Hennig, his last rock here in end number 1. Just looking to replace that center guard to force Team Hlushak into a draw to the button.
It appears this rock is just a little bit wide, but the sweepers are going hard to carve it over, and they are successfully able to fully guard the one top 8 foot, giving Peter an interesting little predicament, either trying to attempt the tricky double or draw to the pin, and he elects to try the double. Most likely, if successful, will only get his single point, but that would be an excellent result considering how this end has been playing out.
Absolutely. It's interesting because there are a plethora of potentials here. Like you could have the potential to hit both of your reds in the back and leave the yellow for shot. We'll see. They're urging it to curl a little more. Will it clip the back one? Yes, it will. Oh, and a fantastic shot. For one there in end number 1, Peter Hlushak makes the double takeout, takes the lead going into end number 2. What a start. We'll catch you when we come back from commercial.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best brew in the game. Hardline, join the revolution.
Curling Alberta's 50/50 supports grassroots curling with a jackpot of at least $100,000. I know! Brace yourself. Join us aged 18 plus in nurturing these future curling stars. Support grassroots curling with Curling Alberta.
Welcome back to the 2025 U18 Optimist International Provincial Championship here in the Leduc Curling Club. We have Team Hennig with last rock now throwing the yellow stones after they have successfully forced Team Hlushak to 1 point in end number 1. Quite an interesting start to the game. We had not the sharpest of beginnings there for Team Hlushak. An undercurl on a guard from Team Hennig and a fantastic double takeout as we finished end number 1. So we look back, here's a nice replay of Peter's last one. Just urging it to curl, just clips that one enough and leaves that red rock sitting in the back of the 8 foot to score their single. Now that's one thing I've seen watching most of Team Hlushak's games is the ability to throw the up weight all the way throughout the lineup with Team Hlushak. If they are ever in trouble, usually they find a way out of it using the hit game. And Peter obviously making no mistake there with his last one.
A real end saver that Peter made last end. Hugo Chow coming up a little bit light here on a come-around attempt. Based off the first 2 rocks of the second end, we might see a little bit more of a clumped up end, just like last one. Maybe some run backs, peels being played, and some tricky freezes and draws also being attempted.
Parker Harris being asked to throw the come around draw. Sweepers have been on it the whole way, trying to get it into the house. And what a great sweep by Jackson Hebert and Varric Dopker. Just biting the top of the 8 foot. Now this might be a good time to present to you the paths to the final. So through the round robin, after round robin play concluded on day number 3 of U18 provincial action, Team Hlushak had a 7-0 record. Team Hennig had a 4-3 record, but based on Team Hennig's head-to-head record against tied teams, they found themselves in the 1 versus 2 page playoff game against each other. Team Hennig had dropped down into the semifinal with the Team Hlushak victory last night in the 1 versus 2 game. Team Hennig won the semifinal versus Team Duncan to find their way back into the final. And here we are at number 2.
Well, initially the inside sweeper were they always take precedent, but for that last one it was looking a little bit wide there. So Jackson jumped on it, tried to make it curl just a little bit more, but it also had to go for weight a little bit. I'm not sure if that change was a great idea. Although that red is in a good spot, yellow is still shot in the back forefoot, which could potentially be a counter for Team Hennig at the end of this end.
Looks like we have a coach interaction earlier this end than last. Coach Chris Power out talking to Austin Hennig, saying, hey, this is a chance to bail. We're in a bit of trouble early. Let's see if we can rearrange some of the stuff in front of the house to make it a little more advantageous for ourselves. Looks like he's trying to hit the yellow one into the other red that's positioned on the center line. We saw Matthew Renninger make a couple of great shots in the first end. He's being asked to throw a run back here. And Preston Russell on it early. This one's curling. This one's hitting the red guard. And off goes the center guard.
Although not the desired outcome they were looking for, it does work out. It does clear a guard that was on the center line, exposing the top 12 guard or top 12 red rock that they were trying to hit, which will most definitely come into play as Team Hlushak's attempting to tap it back just off nose and potentially freeze right on that yellow one. A very, very tricky shot here for Derek Depker.
Reapers on this one early. And it looks like they've successfully held the line as this one's coming into the house. Just looking to promote it. However, it is falling a bit short. Still a good shot. Successfully guards the rock in the house. Now, Team Hennig has shot rock at the moment. They have the opportunity to sit 2. It looks like they've now with the hammer they've elected to kind of rear back on the aggressive strategy and make sure that Team Hennig has a shot for 1 at the end of this end. Trying to clear the center. Run back attempt number 2 successful. However, it does roll out. Job well done from Matthew Reiniger.
Although it pushed the red one shot in the top forefoot, it is fully exposed and definitely hittable for Team Austin Hennig and can potentially hit and roll over underneath the corner guard that they've created for come shot 2. Jackson Hebert attempting to draw one in here, top 4 potentially, but it does look like it's a little bit wide. Maybe going for a guard attempt now, just trying to carve it over. Parker Harris on the dig. Does end up just barely biting top 12 foot, allowing Team Hennig to double and potentially roll a little bit behind the center guard, getting shot 2.
Really important there that they were able to guard that outside portion of the stone. If it did over curl and guarded on the inside half, it would leave Team Hennig a chance to just kind of hit and roll towards the corner guard. So definitely guarded the right side there. And I think as the game goes on, Lucas and I will be discussing tolerance on a few shots and, the pro side miss. And that was absolutely the pro side to make that shot. And it wasn't a miss, it was a make. What a great spot there and great management by the sweepers. As the double attempt is attempted and just jammed just onto shot rock there. Leaves yellow sitting 1, fully buried, and still a pretty good result with yellow in front of red. However, it leaves that red still sitting in the house.
Jackson Hebert now asked to draw around the other side, potentially getting shot top 4. A very tricky shot, as not a lot of teams have been out this far, and especially on this path. Does appear to be a little bit heavy. Sweeper's not touching it at all. Parker stopped walking with it. Austin on the sweep, trying to get it out of the house, and successfully squeaks out. Not a very great shot from Jackson Hebert, but still lies them in a not terrible situation.
Yeah, just an unforced error there from Team Hlushak. Draw weight has been elusive at times, I think, throughout the week from many of these teams. Seeing that they might have it one shot and then they try again, and either the speed of the ice has changed or they maybe just didn't quite have the feel. Jackson will have the rest of the game to find that feel, but he's hoping to find it sooner than later. Preston Russell just being asked to draw at the top of the 4-foot. Sweepers don't like it there right off. And, sometimes the best sweep is no sweep, as it ends up right in the top of the button, slides about maybe a foot too deep, and leaves a potential freeze attempt now from Peter Hlushak. So I'm hoping the sweepers learn something from Jackson's throw and that last draw attempt by Preston Russell to give Peter some feedback on the speed of the ice here. Jackson saying lots of line. And you have Varick curling to sweep, or sweeping to curl. It looks like it's just sliding a bit deep, chaps off that yellow, and rolls to the back of the 8-foot. Team Hlushak not too happy with that result. So just like end number 1, it seems like Team Hennig has the upper hand going into skip stones, and Peter's going to have to pull a rabbit out of his hat now to prevent a multiple score.
Although Team Hlushak seems to be in a little bit of a sticky situation, I've seen Peter play some crazy hero shots, and he might have to play the nose run back on the centerline guard or the yellow-red combo double triple. for his last. Oh, there they are, really tricky. He's been making some incredible shots this year and last year.
You know, there's something to be said for those hero shots, and sometimes the skips tend to be more likely to make the combo shots, the shots with many words, the hits and rolls, the runbacks, and the draws through the port rather than the simple shots. Now, I'm not saying Peter is one of those skips, but yes, I have seen him make those shots before too. And Austin's going to have to make an effort to make Peter make one of those big shots in order to prevent the multiple. Looks like he's just trying to draw top four again. We saw Preston make that one touching the button early. The pattern has been heavy on the back. This one slides and slides. Sweeper's right off, and it looks like it just nudged that rock on the top of the button, and it is about half buried behind the center guard. Looks like Peter's first instinct is to throw a bomb, try to clear some of these yellow rocks out of the way. Now it looks like with some weight, you can clear at least two of the yellows. I'm unsure whether or not that center, the one that's just touching the button or the pin, will jam on the back four rock. Here we go, Peter Hlushak. Jackson hoping it curls. He's got a piece of one, gets two, and it just jams on the rock in the back eight. And it's close. Maybe sits for shot, might be second shot. Like, based on the call here, Austin feels as though he is shot rock. This is likely to be a draw to the 4-foot for early. Austin looking like he wants to get up and help sweep. Oh, he is. And there we are. They're sweeping it. It needs a piece of the 4-foot, and they've made it. Great sweep from Team Hennig. And Austin Hennig and his team have scored 2 points here in the second end to take the lead after 2. Team Hlushak will have the hammer when we come back.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec safety online?
Welcome back to the 2025 U18 Optimist Alberta Provincial Championship. We had Team Hennig scoring 2 in the second end to take the lead. They're throwing the yellow stones, throwing first, and Team Hlushak has the hammer and the red stones here in end number 3. Now, Lucas has been doing some stats on his own, and there's been a key matchup so far after 2 ends of play.
After 2 ends of play, Team Hlushak curling 50% and Team Hennig curling a whopping 78.75%, with key matchups coming in the third, with Preston Russell curling a whopping 90%, with Jackson Hubert's 45%. Potentially the only reason that the score isn't there's a bigger margin on the scoreboard is because 2 of Peter's hero shots is both final shots in the first and the second end, clearing 2 yellow stones. Great shot making from him, but he's still curling 60%. His first shots of the first and second end have not been very great, but he sure makes it up for his last shots.
Yes, and I think if I'm Team Hennig, I'm not changing a whole lot after the first 2 ends of play. They've been drawing exceptionally well. At least, they're making their draws count when Team Hlushak has maybe come a little bit deep. Those shots after those misses have been made and forced Team Hlushak into some big weight takeouts. I think if I'm Coach Chris Power, I'm pretty impressed with the first 2 ends here in the final. There may be pressure, but it hasn't seemed to affect them so far. Just giving a little update on the other final game. In the U18 girls side, we have Team Alina Yurko versus Team Abby DeSormo. Abby DeSormo started with the hammer, blanked end number 1, and then was forced to 1 in end number 2. So DeSormo up 1-0 after 2. Team Yurko has the hammer in that one. Kind of like we saw this morning with Team Hennig, once they got the lead, the rocks were thrown into the house, urging the other team to hit them and maybe looking for a rollout and a potential to peel that corner guard later in the end. Peter must have watched that game, and so he's ignoring those 2 and electing to draw right around the corner guard instead.
Parker Harris is well known for his ability to draw. As last season when I was playing with him, he would have been 80s almost every single game, and most of his shots with draws and guards. He's just an exceptional curler with his guards and draws. His placement is fantastic, and you can even see this end, a perfect guard matched with a perfect come around, fully buried. Amazing shot making from him.
Yes, and Parker being one of the youngest members on the team, or the youngest member on his team. I remember seeing Parker at the U15 Rock Fest last year. So he was U15 eligible and still, making his impact with the U18 division. Looking at those 2 rocks on the wing, you couldn't have walked them down any better. And there we are. Austin saying, "Great shot, man," as the guard goes up. Looks like it's guarding half of either stone. Does leave a little piece exposed for Peter Hlushak to hit this rock and roll behind that corner guard. Something to be said for positive skip. Rewarding your team for making shots and putting your team in good positions, at least mentally. Sometimes the best skips are the best teammates as well. This one comes in. Jackson's being asked to curl it, and it's just sliding a little too far. So maybe a bit of a mismanage there as that hit and roll rolls all the way out of the rings. So it appears as though Austin is asking his team if he likes if they like the freeze or they like the peel. Seeing a little more opportunity with the peel and I think more so the run back. So Matthew being asked to throw 7-5 run back. Just not curling enough. Does get the peel, eliminates that corner guard, and leaves Team Hlushak sitting one in the house.
Although Matthew wasn't able to successfully run the guard back and remove the stone that Parker placed there so nicely, it does open it up very nicely. And if Varick draws this one beautifully in the top 4 foot, it will give Preston Russell a chance for a little in-off attempt, which may set up Team Hennig for a beautiful end with 3 stones all near the center line, all in a row, and may put Team Hlushak yet in another pickle for potentially the 3rd end in a row.
This one just doesn't seem to be catching the curl. And kind of like we've seen throughout this game so far, Team Hlushak just a little bit on the heavy side. Although, it does slip behind the tee line, it's not in the worst place. I think they'd prefer, if it was behind the tee, that it's wide open like it is. Doesn't leave Team Hennig a chance to be buried and in front of the red stone. Interaction is called by Chris Power. So 3 ends, 3 coach interactions now. Team Hennig coach Chris Power is truly making an impact early. What do you think they're discussing here, Lucas?
Well, based off Austin's first choice for a hit and roll, I feel like he's a little bit indecisive on whether to just draw one right under his 2 yellow guards, or his 2 yellow rocks, one a halfway guard and one top 12. If he sinks one under there, they're looking really nicely. It will force Team Hlushak to chase, and if they just peel the guard, he could then play a little hit and roll away on the back red one, or just potentially just remove a red in play, and which may end up to a potential force later in this game, or even a steal opportunity for Team Hennig.
Okay, I'm hearing hit and roll here, so he must think that he can make that rock curl enough after that guard to get the roll underneath. I guess worst case scenario, he just hits it on the nose and forces Team Hlushak to make that hit and roll under. Coach must have thought that this was the dangerous stone out of the 2, so let's try to get after this one instead. A little more precise, but as we heard, Preston Russell is curling 90% after 2. Maybe let's take advantage of that. Looks like it needs some curl. Gets by the guard, a little more curl as Henniger sweeps, and just right on the nose. Jackson Hebert just looking to replace it. Nose is okay, little roll under is okay. Anywhere but roll out. And a great sweep from Parker Harris. Makes contact with the yellow, rolls towards the wing. And it does just roll out of the ring. An unfortunate mistake there again from Jackson Hebert early in this game.
Yeah, a very critical miss there, as it does give Team Hennig an opportunity to hit the red winger that Parker placed there and potentially get a nice roll into the center, which will set up, as mentioned earlier, a steal opportunity, or at the very least a force opportunity for Team Hennig.
This one really needs to finish up to stay in the house. And another roll out of the rings. So letting Team Hlushak off the hook a little bit. Peter has the chance to just simply hit that rock that's half open on the intern side. He sees this as an opportunity to score 2 instead, so they're playing the draw around. Hearing a lot of communication on this one coming from between the sweepers and the line caller. And they do get that for shot stone. Looks like it is edge on edge, maybe eighth of a rock buried behind that off center guard. Weight was good, just needed a little more curl.
Even if Austin Hennig is successful on hitting this one, it may give Peter Hlushak an opportunity to sink one around the 2 yellow stones and force Austin on a very pressure freeze or pressure run back for his to not give up a deuce here in the third end.
Here's Austin Hennig, his first rock in end number 3. Just looking to hit this one right on the nose. Nice precise hit. Sweepers on it early. Maybe too early, as now they're asking sweepers to curl. Looks like he's got enough of the red. Will roll over to the wing, and that force is firmly on. It's very nice to see Team Hlushak has a plan. You know, they see that off-center guard. They don't see a ton of risk of the steal and isn't afraid to attempt to get that deuce. You know, playing those draw shots, you see a lot of young teams, they see a rock in the house, they're more inclined to hit it. This team is showing its maturity. Playing the draw, trying to force Team Hennig to make a tough shot to earn that force. Where would be the optimal place for this shot?
Sorry, Brendan, I didn't really get that.
Yeah, it looks like optimally they're hoping to just fight the top of the 4. Need some sweep. Oh, and what a sweep they had. Looks like it's almost half buried now behind that off-center guard. In for shot stone. We haven't seen Peter Hlushak throwing many draws yet this game, and it's nice to see when he needs to, he's A, not afraid to throw the draw, and B, able to successfully get that one in the top of the house.
Austin Hennig here trying to pick out the redstone that Peter just threw. The same path that Peter threw his amazing double in the first end. And we've seen from multiple previous shots that it has been running a hair bit straight here. And with that ice, it does seem like he's throwing hack weight at it, potentially trying to stick around in the side 8-foot and try to give Peter a pressure draw for his single, for his last.
Yeah, interesting. You could see half of the red stone, but you can also see more than half of the yellow stone. You know, I guess it's dealer's choice. He just threw this path. Like you said, it is pretty straight. He needs to get this one all the way to the other side of the center line. Sweeper urging it to curl. And just goes by. As there you have it, Peter Hlushak forcing Hennig into his first miss of the game. And it's going to show up onto the scoreboard. Open draw for 2 now for Peter Hlushak.
much better end played here by Team Hlushak as a whole with multiple makes, and they were a little bit fortunate to see a little bit of a breakdown potentially on Team Hennig with a little bit more missiles than they saw in the first two ends. Team Hennig might be on a little bit of a downward trajectory after this end, but we'll see what happens.
Looks like Team Hlushak just needs to get a piece of the 8-foot for 2. And much less sweep than the last one. This one gets in there with no problem. Team Hlushak gets 2 in the third end to take the lead back from Team Hennig. They'll be up 3-2 when we come back.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
So you're a pizza person, but you're married to a wing person, and your kids are salad people? You can't pick your fam, but with over 50 menu items to choose from, you can make them all happy. Order today and enjoy Boston Pizza at home.
Welcome back to the Leduc Curling Club 2025 action of the U18 Alberta Provincial Championship. I'm Jason Ginter with Lucas Sawiak here in the booth. We've seen some exciting curling thus far here in the final game between Team Hennig and Team Hlushak. Team Hlushak just took control of the game with a 2 score in the third. They now hold the lead. Team Hennig has the hammer and the yellow stones in the fourth. I have a bit of an update on the women's game. The U18 women's final. Team DeSormo had the final, I guess the bye to the final through the 1-2 game. They didn't play this morning. Team Yurko did play this morning, and that might have led them to the potential to score 4, as they did. They scored 4 in the third end to take a 4-1 lead. So we have 4-1 now. Team Yurko over Team DeSormo. Unforced error there from Team Hlushak, hogging the first stone at the end. Now, you've been in this game before, Lucas. What are your thoughts going into a final in the U18 category? I guess Team Hlushak, they've been here before. They've been in a lot of final games before. Team Hennig, maybe not so much. Maybe just map out what these two teams are thinking going into this game.
Well, as aforementioned, Team Hlushak might be feeling a little bit more relaxed, but also a little bit of nervousness and butterflies coursing through their veins, as this is a provincial final, and the winner will get the Purple Heart and represent, and will be represented as Alberta 1. So Hlushak may be feeling a little bit more relaxed, but based on the way this game has been going, they might be feel a little bit more stressed. Team Hennig on the other side, going into this game, I bet they were extremely nervous, but based off their execution and shot-making abilities, they might be feeling a little bit better. And currently in a scoreboard or a theoretical tie, I think they're in a very nice placement, better than I think they thought they would be in. But as they continue playing amazingly, I feel like the scoreboard will maintain similar values or similar differences throughout this entire game, and then we'll see a little bit more aggression in the later 7 and 8 ends.
Yes, it's nice to see after the first two matchups ending early with Hlushak taking the wins. It's nice to see this one staying tight, at least early in this game. A unfortunate mistake there as it just touched that rock, and the no-tick zone has been used. And so no-tick zone meaning if that rock is touching the center line, it cannot be ticked until the sixth rock at the end and ticked by the opposition. So if the opposition ticks that rock off the center line, then that rock is just simply put back where it was, and in this case, the yellow stone was removed from play. So we have a miss early from lead Parker Harris hogging that stone, and then another miss there from Hugo Chow. I like what you said earlier, Lucas, that sometimes your nerves go away once you start making shots, and that'd be the easiest way to take the pressure off, is just to make a few. You settle in pretty quickly after you get that first make, and then you're not thinking as much about the what if you miss. It's just let's attack it and let's make that next shot. So I think that's what we've seen out of the majority of Team Hennig. Looks like Team Hlushak has made that draw around. Team Hennig making the coach interaction once more. Coach doesn't like what he sees on the center line. We're gonna take a run at this run back. We've seen Matthew make at least one of these already this game. Looking to do it again. Just clean up the mess on the center. I heard whoa, 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 off early. The sweeper stayed on it and unfortunately just pushed that rock out. Look at the clean peel. Open up that center. Now Team Hlushak with the lead. They're thinking maybe, hey, let's just peel this guy. Let's get out of dodge. But I like what he's doing here. He's not trying to just peel the rock out. He's thought at least about the ability to hit and roll into the rings. Keep that force in play. This is when tolerance comes into the equation, though. It's okay to just rip it out and roll out. It's not okay to nose hit. So I'm hearing curl for a piece. He's got a piece. He's got a piece of his own as well. And just rolls. So it's just biting the top of the house. Mission accomplished. So fourth end of an 8-end game here. Going into this end, you might, you see even ends. You might say, okay, well, let's try to score. I'm a little bit, I guess, confused as to the strategy here in this end. Not really seeing a lot of urgency to get that point. They're okay with the blank. I don't know. It might just go into the whole David versus Goliath mindset that we'd have. Let's just try to keep this game close. But I think Team Hennig, they've been out curling Team Hlushak. I would have been more apt to play a little more of an aggressive game.
Yeah, for sure. Especially based on, again, like you said, the percentages. The lead and second on Team Hennig have been out curling the lead. Sorry, the second and third of Team Hennig have been out curling the second and third on Team Hlushak by a fair margin. I believe that's where Team Hennig can get that little advantage and set up a very nice end and force Peter to make more hero shots. He's really good at making them, but eventually he will miss.
Here we have Austin Hennig requesting the hit and roll over to the wing. Now This would be interesting here. If he ever doesn't roll one way or another, if he just sits right there, it's going to leave a center guard. He just does that. We'll see if Team Hlushak elects to still peel. This will be interesting. We'll see how high that guard needs to get before maybe the draw is called instead. Like that rock is just removed. They're happy just with the blank, and it looks like that's where we're trending. So Lucas, you have a history with a lot of these players on the sheet today. Can you give me a bit of a background on some of these teams and your experiences with them?
Yeah, for sure. Well, obviously, I played with Team Hlushak last season as a third. We won this event, went to nationals, and were quarterfinalists. But the second and third, Varick and Jackson, they were skipped by Jackson actually, as he moves down to third this season. But last season, they lost in the finals in this event. Still went to nationals, where Alberta 2 lost in the quarterfinals, and we actually played them in the 5-6 game with us coming up on top. That was a little bit of a fun game with Parker Harris skipping that game. Had a little bit of fun in that last game. Also pulling Rhett Whitmire for that one as well. But going on the other side, as I mentioned earlier, I have played Matthew Reiniger in the high school provincial championships in the semifinal and round robin. Hugo Chow, I believe he played with Team Schoenhart last year. We also played against him. He's a pretty good lead. He loves talking. He brings meaningful insight to everything. He cheers everyone up. He's just an overall great guy. Preston Russell, he played mixed high school provincials last year. Lost the provincial final to Rhett Whitmire, but I've chatted to him a little bit. He's a really nice guy, really great guy to talk to. Just an overall amazing guy, a talented curler. And then Austin Hennig used to curl with Team Hlushak. He's one of the nicest guys I've ever met. He has never said anything bad. He's just an amazing guy with great aspirations for this game. I'm pretty sure he... which university is he at? He's in the Bachelor of Management at Concordia University of Edmonton. So a little bit of a lucky birthday for him, as he is a first year. But as I said before, he's just a great guy, great curler, and just nothing bad I could say about him.
Yeah, and obviously all of these athletes here are super talented, doing what they do and taking the game as seriously as they do. They all work hard. They all have deserved to be in this final game. And Lucas, it's unfortunate that you're not in this game as well, being able to defend your title. But it's nice to see that we have a lot of young players in this event that might be eligible to play in this in the following years as well. We've had lots of success in U18 and U15 categories throughout this event. And then, for the teams that do age up into the U20, I'm sure we'll see some of these teams in provincial finals in the U20 ranks at some point in their future too. Here we are, Team Hennig with the blank attempt in end number 4. Just looking to roll out hard on the sweep. And now just clean it blank and in the 4th. And so as we get into the break here, we'll have a 5-minute 4th end break. Team Hennig will retain the hammer as they approach end number 5. We'll see.
Ben, what's the Aztec safety online?
For over 20 years, the Sandra Schmirler Foundation has granted more than $9 million to hospitals across Canada for life-saving equipment for premature and critically ill babies. In the past 4 years alone, $4 million has been granted thanks to the curling community's incredible generosity. The need continues year-round, and with your help, we can ensure every baby has the chance to grow up and become a champion, just like Sandra.
You make moments like these possible.
Curling Alberta's 50-50 supports grassroots curling with a jackpot of at least $100,000. I know! Brace yourself. Join us aged 18 plus in nurturing these future curling stars. Support grassroots curling with Curling Alberta.
Welcome back here as we continue the fourth and break of our U18 provincial final game. We have Team Hlushak up 3-2 over Team Hennig. Both these teams taking a bit of a break from the action. As we wait for them to continue, we have a bit of an update on the girls' game. Team Yurko up 4-2 on Team Desormo. Team Yurko has the hammer as they go into the break themselves. Now, there might be less pressure on these teams now that they both know that they'll be going to the Nationals in Saskatoon in February. But this is a final game, and there is a lot on the line here. You have the ability to put your name in the history books as the provincial champions. Now, you're a provincial champion here in this division. How much would that mean to you going into the rest of your curling career, saying that, hey, I won this event before?
Well, obviously it's an amazing thing to accomplish, and another achievement I could add to my resume, which is always nice to have. You also get a little hardware you could be remembered for, and remember your memories that you've had at certain events, like the U18 Provincial Championships. And you also gain a little bit more recognition, which is very nice. Put your name a little bit more out there, which will allow you to get on potentially better teams and slowly move up the ranks and hopefully potentially go on a team that heads to the Grand Slam one day. So these little achievements early in your career, they go a long way.
Absolutely, and it's nice that you mentioned the Grand Slams a bit. I think that's something that curling is getting to a place now where social media and exposure of some of the players is expanding, and we're trying to make sure that our players and personalities are a little more well known, and that fame and hopefully fortune that goes along with it. We got a long way to go, but it's nice to see this year that at the U18 Provincial Championships, we've been able to conduct some post-game interviews with some of the teams. We've had a little media day where we had some pictures and social media content that I think that you'll be able to enjoy throughout the rest of the year, with the help of our assistant championship coordinator, Justice Jakes, and social media manager, Raymond Vanstone with Curling Alberta. it's a nice little touch we've been able to add to the youth events this year. So I wanted to thank Justice. Ever since he came into the fold, this event has gone from good to great, and Raymond Vanson as well. Everything he touches seems to turn to gold. So pretty impressive having the two of them on board with the championships this year to help our championship coordinator, Michael Latteroot, as he's been a staple at all of our provincial events and done a fantastic job again this year. So here we are, as you see Coach Reg Reinhardt walking down the ice, waiting for fifth end of play to begin. You'll see we have our coaches positioned in the backboards. We've taken advantage of coach interactions throughout the first four ends of this game. Team Hennig using them a little more than Team Hlushak, but nevertheless, the coaches have been a big impact in the sport, and we're happy to see some of these coaches staying in the game, even though maybe some of their kids have been removed from the U18 category for some years. We have two coaches here, Chris Power and Reg Reinhardt, that have been staples to the coaching community in curling for quite some time and have led many teams to success. So we commend them both for their efforts improving and developing these young curlers. So here we are, Team Hennig with the hammer in the fifth end. Team Hlushak throws up the center guard. We're due for a lot of action here. Okay, so first four ends of action have come and gone. We've seen a pair of deuces. We've seen a blank end and a force. Lucas, what have you seen so far, I guess, percentage-wise, how these teams have compared against each other?
Well, after the first half, we have Team Hlushak curling 61% to Team Henning's 69%. So Team Henning definitely curling a little bit better than Team Hlushak, and we've definitely seen that in the first two ends as Peter Hlushak has had to make two very nice hero shots. The key matchup would definitely still be at the thirds. Preston Russell still curling an impressive 75% compared to Jackson Hebert's 48%. So Team Henning might be able to take advantage of that little percentage differential happening at the thirds position.
Now that we're in the second half of this game, I feel like, now that both teams have been able to get their feet under them a little bit, settle into the game, I think I'd like to see those percentages go up across the board. Anywhere in any final, it might take a couple ends just to get going, but now Team Hennig started firing. Maybe they've cooled off a little bit. I'd like to see them see if they can get back to that first and second end form. And Team Hlushak seems to be trending upwards now, especially with that last draw, that deuce, that skips deuce that was generated by Team Hlushak in the third. And we got some aggression now. We got the freeze call here from Team Hennig. Looks like we're going right around it now. Just
others, so the speed and the amount of curl might be different in either of them. Potentially the sheet shape, if it's curved on one side, maybe if there's a ridge over here, there's a dish within the 4-foot or the 8-foot. Just try to gain a better understanding for the entire team on how the entire ice surface is moving, and also a little bit more advanced, how everyone's rocks are feeling. If everyone has a good enough release, they could differentiate between good and bad rocks. Potentially, if one rock's a little bit of a cutter, maybe moves half a foot more than the other one, they could dish it off to the lead or the second position to potentially increase the shot quality for the back end, and also just overall physical condition, how everyone is just feeling overall.
Yeah, a lot to talk about in 5 minutes. I know that's a very analytical standpoint, right? I know there's a little bit that factors into just, okay, well, let's just give ourselves some time to just kind of rest and recover as well. Maybe take a bio break here or there, and just make sure that you're ready for those last 4 ends, however you need to. Peter asking Varick to just make the hit and roll. Hit and roll, it's a simple shot, you'd think. It's executed by the top teams in the world, like 50% of the time. So pretty important shot if we can ever get this. Even if we just overroll it, that's totally okay. We're changing that spot of the ice as long as we stay in the house. Unfortunately, we've just rolled out, left it open for Team Hennig to just play this double clear. I think if I'm Team Hennig, I'm not just trying the double clear here. I would like to hit and roll over to the wing if possible. Make the double, maybe get a little bonus. And just bonks it right on the nose. Not the best result. However, Team Hennig has seen the path for the run back if they have to play it later in the end.
Jackson Hebert's first shot of the 5th end, just trying to sit one right on top of their top 8 one in the rings. If successful, will put Team Hennig in a little bit of a predicament, but it is looking a little bit wide and potentially a little bit heavy. Sweeper's not touching it at all. Varick now curling it just a little bit now off of it. On it again, trying to just carve it underneath the guard and potentially far enough back so if Team Hennig freezes on it, they will not be shot.
Yeah, good result there. Just looked like just a bit heavy. It still got right under the guard. Forces Team Hennig into another run back. Needs a bit of curl. And it does, and it just wicks that rock over, removing it from play. Great shot from Preston Russell. It was interesting to see how this game has shifted. It's gone from Team Hlushak throwing a lot of those run backs and clear shots into Team Hennig being forced to do the same. So obviously a little bit of momentum change after that 2 score in the 3rd end. It seemed just like Team Hennig was on cruise control for a while. All they had to do was peel that rock out of the rings to get that force that they so desperately needed. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, and now it just seems like Team Hlushak has got a little bit of wind behind their sails. Jackson rock just over curl, just tick that guard, but still rolls into a pretty nice place at the top of the rings. Austin asking Preston to try to hit as much as he can see. It looks like there's a potential for a double. Tolerance here would be, I'm hearing 8-5, but I would think tolerance here would be to try to hit and stay somewhere in the house, force Team Hlushak to hit him back, and open up that center line for a potential score of 1. We'll need some curl. They've hit that rock, and it just rolls too far. So might have been a touch overthrown, just under curled there, and just opens the door for Team Hlushak again to try that draw one more time. I think at some point in this end, Team Hennig would love to be able to play this draw to generate the deuce, but they're running out of stones to do so. If Peter is able to throw this one just biting the top of the forefoot, fully buried behind there, I'm going to force Team Hennig into playing another run back attempt. Now we have Jackson Ebert helping the sweep, coming up to help. Sweepers think it's light. They need this one to touch the ring. And it just comes up short. This whole end seemingly in Team Hlushak's favor. That rock just falling short. It gives Austin Hennig a chance to make this draw around the center, potentially getting a skips deuce. And this has been Austin's bread and butter throughout the day. His semifinal game, he lived by the draw. He made them all. And so I think we'll look to see this one be fairly close once again. He must know this path pretty well, just looking at the two guards that he could potentially draw behind. One being a lot tighter to the rings. It looks, at least from our angle, it looks like the outturn might be easier to bury. He's electing for the in-turn. Looks like Hugo says it's a hair up here. Now plan B here, if it is up, they would much rather just sit right on the back of, or right on the top of the back 8 stone than sitting right behind the tee line. And this one, it does stop in time, so still a pretty good result there. Unfortunately, it does open the door again for Team Hlushak to make that same draw. It seems like the common miss so far this game has been a little bit on the heavy side. A little bit more adrenaline potentially in the final game. The pressure becomes a little bit greater in the finals, and as we approach that final end, they're starting to see that trophy slip into their thoughts. Last rock here from Peter Hlushak here without the hammer. And he had one try at this already. Looks like attempt number 2 is golden. What a shot. Right on the tee line. Just behind the tee line. And it's going to force Team Hennig into a draw for 1. Now, if you were Reg Reinhardt, coach for Team Hlushak, before this end, I'd say, hey, what's objective number 1? And objective number 1 obviously would be to force the opposition to 1 point. And it appears that at worst, they've done so. Here we go. Big pressure shot here to tie this game up. Austin will need majority of the forefoot.
Austin Hennig peering from the side, potentially in front of the sweepers. The sweepers are digging hard for this stone. Sweeping really hard, trying to bite the forefoot, or at least getting half forward.
Gotta get there. It's gotta get there. It's very close. And just comes up short. It will be a steal of 1 for Team Hlushak. They'll now take a 4-2 lead as we go into the 6th.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best brew in the game. Hardline, join the revolution.
Curling Alberta's 50-50 supports grassroots curling with a jackpot of at least $100,000. I know! Brace yourself. Join us aged 18 plus in nurturing these future curling stars. Support grassroots curling with Curling Alberta.
Hello everyone, we are back. And number 6 of our U18 Provincial final match between Team Hlushak and Team Hennig. I'm Jason Ginter here with Lucas Sawiak, commentating here live from the Leduc Curling Club. Team Hlushak forced Team Hennig into a draw 4-1 in the 5th. Unfortunately, that one came up just short. So here we are, Team Hlushak now taking control of this final match. So here we are, Team Hennig out of the Saville Center, tossing up the corner guard. I think going into this 6th, then you're going to see a little more urgency to score a multiple now, being down by 2 points, than maybe they've shown thus far. Team Hlushak would be happy with a force. Team Hlushak would also be happy with a steal or a blank. Anything that doesn't result in 2, I think, is a positive for them after this end. So there we are, 2 rocks into the house for Team Hlushak. And I think that curled onto the right side of the rock. You wouldn't want to set up a double and roll behind that corner. Just curled up to a nice spot. Both those rocks are accessible to Team Hennig, but I think Team Hlushak would be quite happy having them play that takeout at this point in the end. There, Hugo Chow. Attempting to hit and roll behind the corner. This one needs some curl. And settling for the hit and stay, just pushes that other rock away from the center line a touch. However, it does choke off that access to that corner guard. Derek Copper. Hits that rock, rolls over towards the center line. Great shots.
Team Hennig here in a little bit of an interesting situation. They do have a corner guard, but they are looking at a red top 12 and another one top 4 choking off the corner guard just a little bit. I believe they're attempting a little bit of a hit and roll, a little bit of a softer weight, potentially like hack. Preston Russell hard on the sweep, trying to make it curl. They could get lucky and just roll right under this red one. That's a pretty good result considering that they were a little wide, getting the most out of a poorly thrown shot. But theirs is in the rings, at least 3/4 buried, and forcing Beric Deprier in a little bit of a tricky port. If he's a little tight and hits his yellow or hits his top red one here, it'll give Team Hennig an opportunity to sink one under the corner and be set up for a deuce, potential deuce by the end of the season.
Yeah, I think that at this point you're happy trading takeouts if you're Team Hlushak. If you're Team Hennig, I think you're trying to find a way to use that corner at all costs, and now with this rollout, it looks like they have the option to do that. Now, just looking over at the time situation now between the two teams, so they would have started with 34 minutes of thinking time, meaning that the time starts as soon as that rock the opposition rock stops, and it stops as soon as your rock passes the tee line at the front or at the throwing end. So it looks like Team Hlushak has about 20 minutes remaining, so they have plenty of time to discuss the last 3 ends. However, Team Hennig only has 12 minutes, so still doable. You know, they have over 4 minutes now per end, but something to monitor now as we get to the later part of this game. Now looking at it, the decision making may not be too problematic for Team Hlushak. They've elected to just peel this corner guard. A little bit of a head scratcher there from Team Hennig attempting to make that hit and roll on that shot. I think that was the time to make that come around. Once you saw the potential and that draw open, I would have taken a crack at it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. The draw was definitely the call there, especially since Team Hlushak's rock was only in the top 12 and not very, not totally a dangerous rock, but definitely could come into play. But now, Team Hennig now pretty much looking for an unforced error, hopefully trying to get a deuce, but more likely a blank here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're right. Both of those rocks in play, the corner guard obviously, but also the rock in the top of the 12 could have been useful for Team Hennig. Just simply hitting that rock out. I know they weren't trying to roll out, but you always run the risk of it. And whenever you play the takeout, and it just seemed like that could have been a rock they could have used later in the end. I think if I'm coaching that team, that might be something to discuss. After this game is over, whenever they do decide to have a debrief, and just say, hey, if we're generating some offense, let's try to use these rocks to help us rather than take them out, especially if we have a clear path for one. So obviously lesson learned now that rock was hit and roll out, and now we're heading back to another blank end here in the 6th. And now our coach, I don't know if he heard us, but we're having an interaction here. This might be an opportunity to use that rock, and okay, well, here we are. We're playing the draw. So there aren't that many options to be aggressive here, and this one obviously is one of the options. The other one being just to throw another corner guard up and hope that the opposition either misses the blank or bonks the blank attempt for you to come around. Now Parker's been playing very well today and hitting and drawing well, so maybe this was the time to make the freeze. Sure, I should say Preston has been playing very well. And the weight was perfect for Preston. Unfortunately, the line was not. It just under curls. So good news for Team Hennig is that it looks like Team Hlushak is just looking to rip this drop out. So they'll have the same freeze attempt likely available to them for Austin's shot. So they were able to learn from Preston.
Peter Hlushak's first shot of the 6th end. Sweeper's cleaning it now, a little bit off it, but it's looking really good. With that weight, they might have been attempting to stick around, but the peel definitely does the job.
Now, you're looking at the 6th end of an 8-end game. If you are forced to 1 here, you're down by 1 without the hammer. Playing the 7th end, you have the option to potentially force them to 1, go down 2 in the last end, or you might have a chance to steal in 7 and try to steal again in 8. Either way, it's not the greatest end result. Now, down by 2, obviously kind of in the same situation either way. So if you look at the odds, either one, there isn't a huge percentage, I guess, win percentage difference between the two. So I think that's why Team Hennig is okay trying to go harder for 2 here, just because there is a bigger difference, like a huge difference between being down 1 without the hammer, being down 2 with the hammer, and then being tied without the hammer. So they're going really hard for their 2 at all costs here, and playing I wouldn't say high risk shot, but playing the riskier shot of the 2 between the open takeout and the freeze, and likely the harder shot between the 2. And again, the weight was perfect. Unfortunately, just under curled that half raw.
Peter just has to attempt the same shot he just tried previously, but based off the broom, he's throwing much more weight. Him personally, he likes to throw, when he's tasked to throw peel, he likes to throw a little bit more. As he shoots out the hack, he's a man who could throw a lot of weight very, very accurately. And Barrick on it a little early. Brings out just enough. And great shot, Peter.
Yeah, just kind of got caught in between. I think they were hoping to stick around, either stick around or just play the clean pick to force Team Hennig into making that blank attempt. However, you'll see job accomplished. Yellow Rock leaves play, and we're likely to just see just a shot over in the other side of the sheet here. Austin wants to learn a little bit. Looks like he's playing an inside-out shot. Gonna learn a little bit about that spot of the ice, and he'll take the hammer into 7. There we are. We have a blank end. Time running out for Team Hennig. Let's see if they can generate something in end number 7 when we come back.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec safety online?
Welcome back. 2025 action of the U18 Alberta Provincial Championship. Team Hlushak versus Team Hennig. Team Hlushak, undefeated record heading into this game, taking on Team Hennig. They don't have the hammer. Team Hennig has the hammer, down by 2 and 7. And it looks like Team Hlushak has control of this game thus far. It's been I guess just a matter of executing on the opportunity, I think, so far throughout the game. Both teams have had their chances to either force or score their 2. We had the one draw for the single point in the 5th end, just fall short, and that's really been the difference in this game thus far. Just talking to Lucas during the break, it seems like the teams have been fairly well matched as far as percentages go. Going through, and it just looks like Team Hlushak is taking a little bit more of a lead in the second half of this game thus far. Having said that, we still have 2 ends left. This is anyone's game. We'll need to see Team Hennig force the action again here in end number 7 if they want to get at least a little bit closer to a tie. This one seems to be slipping deep. It slips right into the rings. That's the thing with the lead position. You play a lot of the same shots, and you might think that, hey, lead is an easy position. All you have to do is just put the rocks in the same place. It's just that the risk of the miss, or the result of that miss, that consequence, is pretty disastrous. That rock ends up in the house. Now Team Hlushak can just hit it. And now there's one last rock for Team Hennig to use moving forward. Now, if you're Team Hlushak there, Lucas, are you happy with that result, hitting and staying right there?
Not really. It's just outside the house, right at the winger. Just down in the corner. Team Hennig can now put a guard right on top of it and use it to their advantage. I would have probably elected to throw a bit heavier weight, be a little aggressive, try to get a little bit of roll in, and if you peel it out, that's totally okay.
Yeah, I agree. Now it's important they use this red rock one way or another. So let's try to guard it. Make sure that we can use it now as a corner guard. So I'm happy to see that they didn't elect to take that rock out like they did in number 6, and they added another corner guard to the equation. So with this call now, Peter Hlushak is elected to just draw to choke off that corner guard. And however, I like the call. It's a good call. However, it does bring play completely over to the wing. If they did elect to throw a center guard or bring play towards the center by throwing another rock in the top of the house there, you might see Team Hennig just be tempted at least to make that takeout. Obviously, when takeouts are in play, there's the risk of rolling out, and then you might get a chance to peel the guard later. So, yeah, interesting call. We'll see if it works out for Team Hlushak. Just comes up a bit short. So, yes, it does accomplish the task of choking off the corner. However, it is essentially another corner. So here we are. Game on. Teams are just not throwing quite enough weight. Why might that be?
Well, as the game progresses and the ice gets more and more used, the pebble starts breaking down and getting flatter, essentially fudging it up and causing speeds to go down drastically. And we'll even see a little bit more breakdown coming into the 8th end after this one. But Also with the ice, we may also see just a little bit more curl as it breaks down and becomes a little slower, which we might have been able to see with the corner guards curling a little bit more than before, which is an interesting little thing.
Yeah, absolutely, and something that the team should be communicating between each other, especially now that Matthew just threw his draw. Maybe he thought he threw the right weight in the last one, and it did just come up short. That might be something. Let's hope that there was a hog-to-hog time discussed, maybe from the skip. Just something that the coach might be able to notice as well, as we see another coach interaction being called by Coach Power. Now, as those guards came up short, it's now bringing play a lot closer to the center line. That whole side of the sheet seems to be choked off now. What do you think they're talking about here? What are their options?
Well, I believe the best shot to call here would be to freeze on the back red one, or potentially over curl and draw under the rock that Varric just tossed. I don't see any need peeling the guards or hitting the top 12 one, as guards in play would help you, as you need a deuce here in order to stay alive and have a better chance at winning this game. And I was very surprised that they actually went, or Team Hlushak decided to choke off the corner guards. They did a fantastic job doing it, but I thought they would have double peeled the 2 yellow ones, leaving 3 reds in play.
Yes, I think it might almost be too late now to start peeling it. I mean, you have essentially 4 guards now on one side of the sheet. Another rock in the top 12 that, you can come around that one as well. The best guard might just be second shot at this point. And coach interaction has been called from Coach Reg Reinhardt. So this is one of those situations now. So as a team without the hammer, you're winning by 2. A blank end is fine. However, I can't see a blank end in the equation now. So I think your goal here is just to make sure you don't give up 3. If you give up 2, that's also okay. You have the hammer coming home tied up. Just whatever you can do strategically to prevent 3 from ever popping into the equation, I think that's what you want to do. And if that means you have to be a little bit less aggressive at times just to concede the 2, that might be an option. So we'll see later in the end as this end progresses what types of decision-making Team Hlushak decides to do. At this point, they're in a pretty good situation. They have shot rock. They have third shot rock and fourth. And they have a Team Hennig rock that is wide open. So they have the option to play the takeout. However, they run the risk of jamming if they do play the takeout. And if they don't jam, they're going to open up that draw again for Team Hennig. So it looks like the coach has decided, or I guess the team has decided with the input of the coach, to just play that draw around and get second shot. Tuck at least a piece around that rock in the top of the 8-foot. So Jackson Hebert looking to make that rock stop just in the top of the 4-foot. He has had an issue with draw weight a little bit today. This one looking like it's coming in nicely. Sweeper is needing curl. Sweeper's hoping it stops. It just slips to the back of the 8-foot. So sits for second shot. However, now we have a bit of a pocket. You can tell in Austin's voice he's a bit excited at this opportunity. This is something maybe he wasn't expecting when that coach interaction happened, for Jackson to come deep like this. So this might be one of the few opportunities to get one solidly in there. Now, if they play this little tap back, they're going to be sitting. Well, if they make it, they'll be sitting shot rock, and then probably not closer than fourth shot. Important, whatever they do, is they leave their shooter or that rock at the top or close to be able to be promoted again. Just being caught again with this rock coming up short. So I'm not sure what happened with that one, because that one overcurled by a rock or two, and it also came up about, 8 to 10 feet light. So it was either a spot in the ice, or maybe that might have grabbed something. Jackson getting another chance at this draw. Did he make the adjustment?
It's looking a little bit wide. Varick on the sweep trying to make it curl. He is able to bring it around and is able to bury it just slightly, but it is still behind the tee line. And open for Preston Russell to freeze one right on their shot rock.
Interesting, as Preston's first one that got inside the slide path pretty early, and I think that might have been why it came up short. And Jackson's rocks have been a little on the wide side. They've been ushering them to curl and staying in the good stuff, and those rocks have slid behind the tee. So we'll see if Preston, if he needs to make an adjustment, he likely will. He needs to get by this top 8 stone in order to make this draw. This one needing to curl. If the weight's good, the line still needs to curl. Oh, what a shot. I think it's still shot rock. Great weight, great result. Good sweep on the curl at the end. It looks like Team Hennig is sitting shot stone. Good news for Team Hennig is they are shot. Bad news is there isn't really room for more than one. And we have Peter Hlushak winding up another big weight takeout attempt. This is essentially the same spot he threw in the first. He gets one, and he gets two. Great shot. And this leaves Peter Hlushak sitting 5-6 in the house. And Team Hennig now in a bit of trouble. This seems to be one of those games where whenever there is trouble brewing for Team Hlushak, Peter's able to get them out of it with that big weight. So having said all that, we've seen Austin Hennig make a few great draws already today, and he's one more draw away from forcing Peter into making something to force. He has the whole button exposed. Austin Hennig, first rock and end number 7.
Sweepers on it early, now backing off of it. Seems to be floating out just like the other draws on this path. Hugo Chow trying to make it curl. Seems to be way out there. Has to curl a mile. Weight was really good, just quite a ways wide. You know, this will give Team Hlushak an opportunity to draw on top forward, top button, and force Austin Hennig to a very tricky draw to the button for the single in the 7th end.
Yeah, that was one of those shots that they needed there, and Austin's rock just came up short, or came up a little bit deep. Line would have been okay if the weight was there. They just couldn't really go for weight, and so they weren't able to help that rock curl in. Now, every rock so far throughout this end has curled a little bit less and a little bit less, and it just seemed like Team Hennig's team got caught, or Austin Hennig's team got caught just with that pass speeding up a bit. A little extra weight, and it just didn't curl. So Peter Hlushak's last rock here without the hammer in end number 7. This one also hanging out there. As this one comes into the house, it is Peter Hlushak in the back of the 8-foot, sitting 3, but it has left the door open now for Austin Hennig to just throw one in there to score a single. Pretty big mistake, I'd say, there from Peter Hlushak. If he draws that anywhere in the top part of the house, it is looking like a almost automatic steal. We'll see if Austin can reel this one back. Needs a few feet less than he just threw. If I'm Austin here, I'm making sure that the sweepers are on this one. I'm aiming top 8-foot, letting the sweepers drag it to the tee line. Last rock, end number 7, Austin Hennig.
Sweepers are on this a little bit early. Looks down. Line looking a little bit better than his last shot. Potentially a little bit tight. Line's perfect. Weight just has to be there. Sweepers.
Gotta get all the way to the button. Great shot. Covers the lid. Austin Hennig gets a single point in end number 7. It'll be 4-3 for Team Hlushak going into 8. Team Hlushak has the lead and the hammer as we get into our 8th end of action.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
So you're a pizza person, but you're married to a wing person, and your kids are salad people? You can't pick your fam, but with over 50 menu items to choose from, you can make them all happy. Order today and enjoy Boston pizza at home.
Welcome back. We're in the 8th end now of our final game, 2025 U18 Alberta Provincial final. Team Hlushak has the lead, 4-3. They also hold the last rock advantage in end number 8. I'm Jason Ginter here with Lucas Sawiak as we present to you the action here in the Leduc Curling Club live through Curling Stadium Live. Now, obviously, this is desperation time for Team Hennig. They need a steal here. And Team Hlushak, they just want to prevent any score. So scoring one works, blank end works. You'll see a lot of rocks around the center, and we'll see if Team Hlushak can make that final shot for the win. So the first guard goes up. Perfect high guard from Hugo Chow. Then we have a rock that slipped maybe a foot deep there from Parker Harris. But nevertheless, we see another guard being called. Ideally, both of these rocks end up somewhere on the center line, just so that Team Hlushak doesn't have the option to play the tick shot. Teams are utilizing the no-tick zone here at the U18 Provincials. So that rock, unfortunately, doesn't touch the center. So it gives Team Hlushak at least an option to tick it. However, because they aren't lined up, there is a double peel accessible. And a lot of teams, they're just electing to throw two around the center regardless.
Going into this last end, Team Hlushak has 13 minutes left on the clock, and Team Hennig making up some time with 5 minutes left on this clock and on their clock. Really able to bank some time, considering they had 12 minutes left going into the sixth end, and able to keep a little bit more time for this last and most important end.
Just giving a bit of an update on the women's game as well. Team Yurko versus Team Desormeaux. Team Yurko was winning 5-2, and Team Desormeaux did have a chance for 4 in the sixth end. However, just missed the come around hit. Yurko stole one, so Yurko is now leading 6-2. So this is one of the most important shots in an end when your team is trying to steal, is trying to make this come around tap back or just to move those red rocks in a place that both of them might be usable. Unfortunately, that rock just didn't curl enough. The weight was great, and it's left red rock, maybe red rock sitting 2, and it gives Team Hlushak an option just to walk up and peel the center guard. And makes no mistake with the peel. So pretty good result there from Matthew Reniger, just trying to get that rock as close as they can to the button, making it difficult to remove. It is frozen to that red rock on the tee line. However, it is going to be both of those red rocks will have to be moved again in order for the yellow team, for Team Hennig, to score. You'll see this back and forth effort of guarding and peeling until we get later in the end now. Matthew, pretty happy with that one? Now, would you ever try to make contact with both of these rocks?
I believe you should just keep guarding your yellow in the house for a little bit until thirds last, and then make a little bit of a play on the reds in the house. Maybe throw back 8, try to hit 3/4 of the top red and push him just behind the tee line for a little bit of backing. And then potentially for Austin's last, put another one in the 4-foot and force Peter to throw a very precise rocket or a precise little hit and roll tap, just making sure Peter has a tricky shot on his last. So I believe you should eventually play in the center, but as of right now, just keep replacing the guard.
Yeah, I think that's something we have seen a lot of, is Team Hennig forcing Team Hlushak to play a precise big weight shot. So if I'm Team Hennig, I'm gonna try to make him draw if I can. So things just got a little more interesting over on our left. The women's game, Team DeSormo just took 3 points. So Team Yurko will be up 1 with hammer. Exact same scenario as our game in the last one. And Jackson Hebert makes the peel once more. Yeah, this is a game of cat and mouse. If you come into the house with this one, it does give you a couple of shots to rearrange, but it does give the opposition a chance to blow up the stuff in the house and open up that scoring area for Peter's last. So it looks like they're waiting one more, throwing another center guard. At some point, though, you might think, well, hey, if Peter Hlushak can just throw a guard on his own rock, then maybe Team Hennig doesn't have a chance to get into the house and sit shot rock. So we can't wait too long. And there you have it. So the guard is put up in a pretty great place. Makes Peter at least think about, hey, if we just freeze another one in here, we might not even have to throw our last one. So looks like that's the call. He has motioned that it does leave that potential for a run back later. And Jackson says, okay, well, we'd rather leave a shot for us to make rather than them. So he's playing the peel. Always interesting to try to listen into the conversation here. So big team discussion. They have lots of time now on the clock. They have over 3 minutes left remaining on the clock, Team Hennig. What are their options here, Lucas?
Well, obviously you could just replace the guard, but I don't think that's the right choice at this moment. I believe mentioned earlier, you just throw probably back 8, hit 3/4 of that top 8 red one, and which will push a red to the back 4 and potentially the other one to the side, leaving both of your yellows in the house, and no chance for a double, even though you're going to throw a high amount of weight. One of them should jam, and you'd also leave that tight center yellow guard there, which Austin could always just wrap one around if Peter decides to just blow everything up.
Yeah, I think you're right. They definitely have to make a move now. It's just a matter of where's the best place to leave your shooter and where's the best place to tap these red rocks. Like you said, there is an opportunity. I think you're going to have to sit shot rock at the end of this. Otherwise, Team Hlushak might just guard it. But there is an opportunity to have both of your yellow rocks sit right in front of the reds, leaving them both. Difficult to remove. I'm not going to say impossible because we know how hard Peter can throw it. Needless to say, I think it's going to be a super precise shot here required from Austin Hennig. So this is now it's approaching the slide path. So it's a bit of a question mark as to how much weight Austin's going to have to throw here. And here he goes as he delivers his first shot, net number 8. Here in T-line on its own. That's about the right weight they want. They need to make sure it has the weight to touch and move some of these red rocks. It's coming in. It's really diving towards that center guard. Now, does it have the weight? It does not. So it just freezes that red rock. But it does leave the potential for a run back or some sort of big weight in order to sit more than 1 point. So he's not out of the woods yet, Team of Hlushak. They still have a lot to think about.
Peter lining up a shot for him to throw massive weight, trying to skinny the top yellow one, trying to punch it over and clip in the back yellow one, potentially doubling them both out, leaving their red one shot buried on the tee line. A very, very precise shot, but again, Peter, very precise with these heavyweight shots. And if he's a little bit wide, he could straight up kill the side yellow one that is fully open and sit there shot with the same one on the tee line. It does appear to be a little bit wide, but might curl in just enough. Not quite, but still a pretty good shot. But it will allow Team Hennig to throw a nose double to get shot 2 in a very, very tricky spot that Peter will have to throw into.
Yeah, very interesting. He did make the shot and almost got a piece of that yellow to remove both of them. But since he didn't, he's left that double as an option. If Team Hennig just makes a hit and roll, over to the edge, now it's going to force Team Hlushak into a draw. I think the one place he really doesn't want to end up here is right on the nose, because it will just allow Peter to run up the sheet and slash double those two out. And I think you really want to make Peter draw if you can. He's just had such a successful day throwing the big weight. So here we go. Team Hennig. Austin Hennig needs the double to keep his team alive. Got to get by the guard first. Gets by the guard and misses the back red. So that'll be it. Team Hlushak scores their single point in the 8th end, and they will take the U18 Provincial Championship. Congratulations, Team Hlushak, on a very successful, undefeated Provincial Championship. That's Peter Hlushak, Jackson Hebert, Eric Dutker, Parker Harris, Nate Burton, and Reg Reinhardt are U18 Men's Provincial Champions in 2025. Congratulations to their team. Congratulations as well to our runner-ups, Team Hennig. Fantastic performance throughout the day today and throughout this week, as you see the elation on the faces of Team Hlushak. They didn't lose. What a great performance throughout. Well, Lucas, what were the keys to victory for this team?
Well, obviously started off just a little bit slow, playing 60% in the first half compared to 69% Team Hennig, but they really picked it up in the second half, curling 72%, really picking it up by 12%. And they were just able to raise their execution level and make most out of every single shot with limited zeros on the board. Only one in that second half. So they were just able to get everything, something out of every shot, and that really helped them and excelled them towards this win and allowed them to take the dub. Another little
definitely.
signal. Sorry.
Hey, no worries. I know. Looks like our production is moving over to the U18 girls game as well, so we'll stay on and do a little commentary over there for those of you that are interested. We'll also just give an MVP award, I think, through the game we had from today, our men's final. I would say MVP goes to Skip of the gold medal champions, Peter Hlushak. He had a few very clutch, very key takeouts to keep his team in the game when Team Hennig was all over them early. And now, for those of you that want to see the medal ceremony in the lobby, you'll have to do so through friends and family. We won't be covering that. We'll instead cover the U18 girls final here. So it looks like Team DeSormo down one without the hammer there. Looks like they're throwing the yellow stones. And I'm counting yellow rocks. It looks like Abby DeSormo was throwing her first in the 8th end. So we have Abby DeSormo, yellow stones, needs one to steal. We have Alina Yurko, red stones, looking to score one for their victory. So for those of you that want to watch the rest of this game, let's actually usher you over to their stream on YouTube. We don't want to take the commentary credit away from the game going on the other stream. So we're gonna send you over to that stream after this shot concludes. So you will see that game on YouTube, Curling Stadium or Curling Alberta. Just search U18 Women's Alberta Provincial Final. You should find it.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best brew in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
Curling Alberta's 50-50 supports grassroots curling with a jackpot of at least $100,000. I know! Brace yourself. Join us aged 18 plus in nurturing these future curling stars. Support grassroots curling with Curling Alberta.
So you're a pizza person, but you're married to a wing person, and your kids are salad people? You can't pick your fam, but with over 50 menu items to choose from, you can make them all.